So, it's been a lot of years. If you don't recognize me, you'll just have to ask who this is. I'm not going to introduce myself. This thing behind me is a river. Now, I know you have a lot of those groundwater canals running around El Centro, so I thought I'd film it from our backyard and sit by the river. I'm just happy to make this because so many great memories. I think when we first became part of the family, and for those years until we moved out of El Centro, I spent more time at your house than any other aunt or uncle's house. And there were just some great memories, some great times. I learned what scraps was. I hope you remember that story. I just want to thank you for loving me, for letting me into your home, for giving John to me as a friend, and as a great relationship. I hope that you just have the happiest of birthdays and know that you are loved by many, and I am one of those. I love you. A very happy birthday. Bye.
Hi, Annie Roo. Happy 90th birthday. We're all telling you things that we love about you or that we remember. And I had two things I wanted to say. When I was spending one summer there and Deanne and I were walking all over El Centro and we went to your house with the boys. We went there probably several times during the summer, but I remember going and you had Kool-Aid in those little aluminum cups that were different colors. And we all got to have Kool-Aid, and that was so wonderful to me. And in that same visit, this is actually what I remember the most, or what affected me the most in my life, is somebody was talking about wetting the bed, and you said that that was called urine. And for the first time in my life, I heard the actual scientific word for something that hardly anybody talked about. And I want you to know that that has affected me my entire life as a nurse and a nurse practitioner. With my kids, my patient kids, and my parents, I always use the right word for it, the scientific word if there is one. And we talk about it like it's a natural thing. I think that came from you. So, and then there's another thing that I have always loved about you. When Dad died and all of us were together at his funeral, us kids, Mick, Brian, Adam, and Deanne, we were talking about who of us in the family reminded us of others in the family. And somebody said to me, Robin, you are just like Annie Roo. And I think that I was a little bit offended at first because we were talking about speaking in gentle voices like Aunt Shirley's or speaking in sharper voices like yours and mine. And it took me a few years actually of going through that in my mind over and over. And the fact is I do speak in a sharper voice, but I say the true things. And that also comes from you. You were wonderful to me. It was just a feeling of being steady and correct. And if I asked a question, I could expect an answer that made sense, an answer that wasn't a lie or trying to talk down to my young self. And when I was older, that Auntie Roo voice, whatever the kids noticed when we were at Dad's funeral, it was a voice that I was actually very proud to be considered similar to. So we love you. I love you. 90 years. Yeah. Happy 90th year.
Well, happy birthday, LaRue. 90 years, that's a long time. I can't believe it's 90 years. Anyway, Thank you, Mother, for such an incredible, incredible life. Specifically for all the love that you've given me, the counsel and the care, the support as a son. Thank you. It's part of who I am today. And I love you. Thank you for all of your approach to life. If there's a will, there's a way. Or if you're going to travel, you might as well make it a trip and enjoy all the sights. My mother used to say. I want you to know that I love you. And you have been an exceptional mother to me. What I'm sure God would have you be. Thank you. Well, hello, Mom. It's birthday time.
Happy birthday, LaRue.
So you're the birthday girl, 90 years old. In another little clip that I did, I can't believe it's been 90 years. Where does 90 years go?
Away.
Yeah. We are excited to be in California.
We are.
For the birthday. We're grateful for a mother who has been a friend, and what else?
A mother. And there. And we are very, very grateful.
Yeah, we're thankful for all your support.
Especially through all the tough times.
Yeah, what a wonderful thing.
And you're still here for the good times.
There you go. We're grateful, Mom. We love you.
We love you.
And now, do you still have your real teeth? Just kidding. We love you, Mother. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. We love you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Annie Roo.
Happy birthday, Annie Roo. Happy birthday to you. And many more on Channel 4. And Scooby-Doo on
Who's
Channel
starting
2.
this show?
Sharon is. Hey Annie Roo, I just wanted to tell you happy birthday. I'm so excited for you. I can't believe 90 years old. You're young. Anyway, you taught me a lot of things when I was growing up, and one of the things that I remember is how to enjoy an avocado. And that might sound so crazy, but my husband loves them. And you showed me how to make them when I stayed with you for 2 weeks when my parents were out of town. And that was really fun. One of the other things I remember that's special to me is when you lived in, what's the name of that town? Tulare. When you moved to Tulare, I would take my kids to go see my sister in Bakersfield. And so we would stop by Aunt LaRue's house, and you would always come up with a little snacky for my kids to have. And we'd have a little party around the table before we headed down to Bakersfield. So those are just a couple of the special memories I have of you. I love you, and I want you to have a happy birthday. Rick, your turn.
Oh boy. Hi Annie Roo. We were just talking about Annie Roo and Aunt LaRue, and this is when Becky, or my older sister, prompted and so informed me that it was not to be Annie Roo, that it was Aunt LaRue. And I was like, well, who's Aunt LaRue? And he said, well, that's Dad's sister. And I said, what? Annie Rue's Dad's sister? And I had never made those connections before. And then she said, well, yeah, and Pop is Dad's dad. And I was like, what? That's why we come over here all the time? I didn't know. I was like 6 or 7 years old, and that's when all that came about. So I learned about my Auntie Roo and Aunt LaRue and Pop all in the same weekend, and Becky's the one that taught me. But I also remember where you worked. For some reason, we were talking about where you worked in El Centro, and then you transferred to different places. But I was always intrigued to go there because there was a full-size horse or something either on the sign. So anyway, you were always a great aunt, and I'm very amazed that you're 90 years old and still doing all you do, and I love you so much. What, no?
Yes, good job. Okay, Jim, your turn.
Well, let's see. One thing I was trying to remember, let's see if you can understand this. You taught me that sus, Swain sus, Io nun sus, means sessions. And maybe you've forgotten this language you taught way back when, but that's the King Tut language. And so I think I've taught it to all my grandkids and my kids as well. So that's been a fun little thing. I hope you remember that. Happy birthday, and I love you too.
Grandma, it's your turn.
Well, Bob and I were talking, and he said, I can't remember things that happened a long time ago. And I said, really? And so I started telling him some things that he had told me, and so he's going to tell you some of those things that he remembers. But I appreciate the way you welcomed me into your family, Nanny and Pop and you and Shirley have been just terrific. And we'll see you soon.
I guess it's around to me. Auntie Roo or Aunt LaRue. I don't call you Aunt LaRue. I call you Auntie Roo. But then I really never got away from that after the kids started calling you that. And I never knew there was any problem about this Aunt LaRue, Auntie Roo stuff. And I would have slapped my kids around and straightened them out a little bit to help you out. But sorry about that problem.
He still slapped us around.
If you hear any side remarks like that, disregard them. We're humoring each other at this little time here, and Vernie's across the room from us with the camera in her hand, and Bert's over here with the camera in his hand, and everybody's making fun of each other, but we're having a good time at it.
Better catch Bernie, Bert.
We're supposed to try to remember some things that, and I didn't know how far back to go, but you know, I can remember the worst time in the world that we were playing house as kids, playing house with you, and this time it was cafe. You were just playing cafe. You didn't have the whole house, you just had the cafe. And you had a little card table set up and outside under the big pepper tree in Arlington, and you just said, okay, now you and Bill sit here, Bobby, and we'll fix up something for you to eat, or at least to drink. It's pretty hot today. So they went in the house and came back out with a glass full of something, and you look at it and it looked like mustard watered down, and then it looked like nutmeg on top of it, and it looked terrible to start with. And he said, well, you have to taste it, and so we took a taste of it, and it tasted worse than it looked. It was really awful, and they had spent quite a while making it, so we ended up throwing it away. That was one little time. The other time was playing hide and seek in the house when the folks were gone, and I hid myself up in the top of the big linen closet, and you couldn't find me, and couldn't find me, and finally you found me, and then that mouse got in my pant leg and just went up one pant leg and down the other one, and everybody was wondering what I was jumping up and down for. That was another time, and then we used to have some clod fights. I don't know if everybody knows what a clod is now, other than a guy that isn't worth much, but the clods were nice little dirt rocks that had formed and were hard, and it was always the boys against the girls, so you were kind of handicapped, with Shirley being the youngest of the family, and Bill was a little handicapped with me, but I could still throw better than Shirley. And so Shirley LaRue would be against Bill and I, and we'd hide around the corner of the house or any place we could hide and throw clods at each other. And when somebody would finally get hurt and start to cry, then we'd quit. But we ended up with some pretty good games and pretty good clod fights. And we lived right next to a big walnut orchard. And speaking of the walnut orchard, do you remember when you and Bill and I wanted to jump out of this big walnut tree and be able to float down in a parachute? We went in and got one of Mother's big white sheets and tied the four corners together and brought them together, and Bill jumped out, and the sheet never had a chance to open, of course, so he just hit the ground, and fortunately the ground was dished up pretty soft, and so he really didn't hurt himself. But that ended our efforts to try to fly in the parachute in some manner. I also wondered if you remembered a girl named Lenore Gilliland. Lenore had a really neat-looking little Model A Ford coupe. Do you remember that? I'm sure you do. Think about it, and it'll pop into your mind. She was one of your friends from high school, and she'd come over to see you in that little Ford, and Bill and I had talked you into talking to her a little bit and letting us push that little car down the driveway and then get in it, and just while you and Lenore were in the house talking about your dates and all of the things that were going on, and we just go back and forth up and down that driveway. But each time we get down, we had to push it down because we didn't want her to hear all the noise. And so we get clear down the bottom of the driveway, and then we just shove the throttle to the floorboard and just pop the clutch and peel off with that thing and head up to the top of the driveway and then shut it off, and down we go again. And that was just one thing that Bill and I had a great time doing while you were enjoying, I'm sure, talking about your dates with Lenore. There was another friend I thought about that I can't think about much about her, except I think she played the piano. Her name was Berna Mae Moore, I think. She lived right across, almost across the street from us, and she would come over and I'm sure she was a piano player, because I think that's where you guys spent some time, was around the piano. She was a little on the chunky side, and Bill and I would kind of give her a bad time about that. We were never too mean, so we never did anything really bad about that or anything. It couldn't have been that. Other times, I'm just too old to remember that far back, LaRue, except the drive-ins. I have to mention that when you worked at the Triple X drive-in, we got to talking about that here before we turned the camera on over here with Bernie, and Jim said, Triple X, Dad, you know what that means, don't you?
Hi LaRue, this is Brother and Sister Wiseman. We want to wish you a happy 90th birthday. And I would like to say how much we love you and the way that the things that you do. I personally remember when you gave your testimony and you didn't think of something and you went, it was gone. I thought that was very cute. Here's Ophelia.
Yes, sometimes it happens to me too, but I think I remember very well when we went out to see the flowers and how much we enjoyed it, especially the memories that you brought back when you told me that you talked about the Waikiki Drive-In, because that was in my time too, and I really enjoyed that. I used to remember that I wanted to go there all the time, and quite a wonderful place to work. But of course, that never happened for me. I was really happy to see that you had worked there. You did it for me. So, happy birthday. 90 years is a wonderful time. But we're right behind you. I'm going to be 79 and Ken's going to be 80, so we're right behind you.
Happy birthday, Aunt LaRue. So, I have been thinking about my favorite memories of you. And I think my favorite memory is when we were doing all that family history And you and Aunt Shirley were just sitting in the room just watching me and my mom scan all these, pictures and documents and stuff and stories. And you guys were just telling stories left and right, and it was awesome. And it was fun to watch you guys. Reminded me a lot of me and my sisters and how we interact. And it's kind of cool. It's kind of fun. And the ways that you've inspired me, I don't even know. There's a lot. I think the biggest way that you've inspired me is family history. Because I didn't really have a love for it before we went out to see you guys. And that's all we did. And that's all we talked about. And it was really exciting. And it just, sparked that fire of, genealogy. And I haven't been able to stop since. And another way, the last way, one other way that you've inspired me is to just, get out, live life, and have all these experiences so that one day I can sit and share my stories with other people. And it'll be awesome, and it'll be fun, and they'll enjoy listening to them like I've always enjoyed listening to you. Happy birthday.
Hi, this is from Mickey Gunther. Congratulations, LaRue, on a life well lived for 90 long years. I can remember when we first met how comfortable you made me feel as a new member of your family. You seemed to accept me just as I was, and I appreciate that. As time went on, I came to know you better. I remember how much I admired you for the way you dealt with adversity and such strength and dignity. But I especially remember one occasion when I was babysitting with Rindy at my house, and as I recall, her hair was about shoulder length, and I kept thinking how cute she would look in a pixie haircut. Alas, when I could no longer control my impulse, I whipped out my trusty scissors and Rindy became a pixie. Well, needless to say, you were horrified when you saw her. Although I doubt that you forgave me, you did let me live to see another day. So here I am today, wishing you a happy birthday from an old friend from the past. With love and deepest respect, Mickey Gunther.
This is Adam Sessions. Hi, Aunt LaRue. Happy 90th birthday. I have fond memories of you. I always appreciated the way you put forth the time, effort, energy to make your nieces and nephews feel like you really knew them personally. I have always felt like you've known me very personally, and I especially appreciated the way you let me know that you knew my natural mother, Mickey. That always made me feel good. I also remember being over at your house as little kids playing with John, and every now and then we'd do something that was wrong. We'd get in trouble, but you never made us feel like we were in trouble. You'd just look at us with that neutral stare and just go, "Now what could have gotten into you boys to make you do such a thing?" And then you'd shoo us off to do something else or go eat lunch or something. And we knew we'd done something wrong, but never felt like we were in trouble, and you never yelled at us or anything. I always appreciated that too. I love you, Aunt LaRue, and happiest of birthdays.
Hey, happy 90th birthday, Aunt LaRue. I bet you didn't think you'd make it there. Well, I hope I don't. But congratulations. And grateful, and I'm so thankful that you accepted me into the family as well as you did, taught me unconditional love, and helped me with all the many years of going through life that I've been through. Not as many as you, mind you, because you're 90, and I'm not 90, but at any rate, one of the memories I remember the most is when Tiffany and I would come down and do genealogy, we was trying to scan your genealogy, and you and Aunt Shirley are sitting in chairs laughing about old times, and Tiffany and I are trying to scan while we're shaking the scanner while we're laughing. And I don't think I'll ever forget those times. I'll cherish those forever, and grateful for you instilling that genealogy bug in me and Tiff. Love you to death. Kudos that you made it to 90th birthday party. I love you.
Happy birthday. Wish we were there.
No, you don't. It's 120 up.
The guy came in with the scope.
Happy birthday. This is Zarin. This is Tammy Kay's oldest.
Smile.
She's doing a video right now.
Connor, look up.
Connor, look up and smile.
Connor, look here.
Connor, smile and say, happy birthday, Auntie Roo.
Oh, come on.
Can all of you say happy birthday, Auntie Roo?
1, 2, 3. Happy birthday, Annie Roo.
Hi Auntie Roo, this is Tiffany. Wish I could be there so I could do a little hula for you, but wasn't able to get there. I hope you're having a great birthday. Some of my memories of you are when you came to Hawaii and took me to some shops in town, and it was just, you were always so sweet, and I just remember you were always so fun to go and be with. Anyway, thank you for those memories. They were always so fun, and I do remember, and I treasure them. Anyway, have a great day. I love you, and happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Auntie Roo. We just wanted to let you know that, send you birthday wishes for your 90th birthday. One thing that I remember from a childhood is going to a barbecue at your house. I was probably 7, Joe was 3, and he saw the lighted fluids sitting on the patio and he chugged it. Then he had to go get his stomach pumped at the hospital. That was quite I'll never forget that. That was quite quite an experience at your house. And always at church, it was fun to sit next to Auntie Rue because you had the certs and the lifesavers, the butterscotch, butter rum lifesavers, or butterscotch lifesavers, and certs, and your nails would go into our arms. You would just keep us entertained from getting too bored, because we were little and didn't really, understand all about sitting so long in church. A little song that I'm going to sing for you is a birthday song. Happy, happy birthday, Auntie Rue dear. Happy days will come to you all year. If I had one wish, then it would be a happy, happy birthday to you from
Jake,
Julie,
Matt,
Michael.
The first time we met, I remember the words you told me. You said to Julie almost 24 years ago, we're going on 24 years of marriage, that you said, he's a keeper. I appreciate that. Thank you. I remember that. Love you, Auntie Rue.
Happy 90th birthday, Auntie Rue. Every time I visit El Centro, it's always a joy to see you. And I'll look forward to seeing you next weekend. So happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Auntie Rue. I love you.
Happy birthday, Auntie Rue. We'll see you next weekend. Love you.
Bye.
Happy 90th birthday, LaRue. Wow, how time flies. It seems like it was only yesterday that you were riding in the backs of chicken trucks and getting into rock fights. Oh, what? Oh, that was yesterday. I just want to thank you for being such an awesome big sister to my mom. It's meant a lot to me to know that my mom has you around. You've always looked out for her. You've been such a source of strength and compassion. I think everyone should have a big sister as terrific as you. I love you, LaRue. Happy birthday.
We on?
You're on.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
You're on.
Auntie Rue, you're turning 90. Wow. I got a memory for you that I don't think you'll even remember. It was way back when we were about 10, 11, 12. It was just Julie and I, and we lived over on Driftwood by Desert Garden School. And you lived in Lynn Ray House. And so you came over and picked us up on a Sunday afternoon and took us out to the feedlot, El Toro Land and Cattle Company, when Jiggs was up and running, walking around and kicking dirt. They put on a barbecue because they just built their shop, and they had everything in the shop. And I remember you picking us up, taking us out there, and surprising Jiggs because we just lived down the street from him. And that was a fun afternoon with you because that's when you worked for Walco. So that's my memory of the thousands and thousands and thousands, but it's over 30 seconds now, so my time is short.
Okay, Trevor.
Happy 90th anniversary.
Birthday.
Birthday, Auntie Rue. I love you, and I hope that this surprise blows your mind away.
LaRue, happy 90th birthday to you. We're so excited for this milestone in your life. You've been a great example to all of us, and I remember the many wonderful Relief Society lessons that you've given, and a good example as a missionary. You have a strong testimony of the gospel that shines through, and I loved having you be my visiting teacher. Most of all, I love knowing that you are my dear friend, a fun friend. Happy birthday. Go down.
Happy birthday, LaRue, and as many more as you would like to have.
Hello, Tia. Happy birthday. Hope this is a great day, and I wish I could be there. We just were gone for a month and just got back and can't do it all, but I sure hope to say a few things that will help bring a fond memory. My first memory of time together is some of the Christmases when we all went around from our house to your house to Uncle Bill's house and Aunt Shirley's house, and we just shared what we had, and we ended up at Papa and Nanny's and had a great Christmas together. Probably the first special memory about you I can remember was when you were my Sunday school teacher, and you were my favorite Sunday school teacher. I'm sure I wasn't your favorite student. I'm sure the Richardson and I made your life miserable, but you were my favorite. I guess the next memory that comes to mind is when I got home from my mission, and everybody was saying all kinds of wonderful things, and you came up to me a little bit later on the sly and said, would it be possible for you to go over and talk to Jody when you get a minute? Her skirts are really short. And I tried to figure out how I was going to do that, but I just remembered you asking me, and I hope that this won't embarrass Jody too much. We all have those times in our lives. I think the next experience I can remember was when we were trying to, just after I got married, and we were trying to save money to go away to college, and you ended up getting me a part-time job over at Walco to help paint some of the offices just to make some extra money so we could afford to go away to school. I always appreciated that you were willing to stick your neck out a little bit for me and try to get me a job. I don't know if you know this or not, but I watched you at work there, and I have to say you really cared about that company. You were very professional in everything you did, and the people that came in all knew you and knew that you knew your products. I just wanted you to know that that was something I remembered. I guess one of the next times I remember when you and Nanny and Ellis were all living up in Ceres, and we went over to visit you a few times there at the house, and Nanny was making Afghans for everybody, and I remembered how you kind of made everybody feel comfortable there in that setting, and encouraged me that we might take Nanny over to the temple with us. And we did that a couple of times on your encouragement, and I appreciate you watching out for her and taking care of her in the latter part of her life. I also remember when we all got together on our family reunion out at Lake Yosemite down in Merced on Scout Island, and all of the different families came from all over, and what a wonderful time that was to get and we still have a picture. That's our big family group picture, was from that outing, and what a great time that was to get everybody together. I just wanted you to know I appreciate all that you've done for me. I'm so grateful that you're my aunt, and grateful to have your family and all the Kincaids and all the others that you brought to our family. What a wonderful thing. We love you very much. Happy 90th.
Happy 90th birthday, Grandma Roo, from Brent,
Heather,
Talise, Christian, Addison, Bergen,
Hanson.
We love you.
Ciao.
Auntie Roo, this is Emily. I wish I were there so we could just share a big hug. I love you so much. And you will remember all those years ago that you and I had a special bond when Bill and I got married, because you and I were the only ones that had ever put two families together. And you were such a support to me and had so many things to help me to get through those first months of trying to be a good mother and a good wife. And I just love you for that. And I've remembered it all these years. I've loved you more every single year that's gone by. One of the things I remember so often is when you and your children and I and Bill's and my children, and we went to the mountains and went camping. Do you remember that? I had never been camping, and you were such a good sport with me and helped me to learn what you do when you're going camping. And we had tents for the children and got them all washed and ready for bed at night, and it was such a fun
fun time, and it was wonderful. We did our cooking, and I was just amazed at what you could do when you went camping. And then there was the big rainstorm. Remember that? It came down in so heavy. The rain was so heavy, it washed the tents down the hill, and we were scrambling around trying to get everything into your little trailer. And somehow, I don't know how that happened, that Bill came and probably someone else with him. I just remember that they packed us all up because I had the key to Brita's little house up in the mountains. So we had a place to go. We didn't have to stop having our good time. So we went over and unpacked at Brita's, and we got all dried off and just began a few days there at Brita's house. It was so fun. And then, of course, we had Mick doing his little 4-year-old, or 3, I don't remember for sure, throwing that bar of soap out the upstairs window, and he was letting it slide down. It was a very steep roof there, and he'd reach out and get it, but he couldn't reach it this time, so he climbed out the window, and some young lady rode up to our door on her horse and pounded on the door and said, "There's a little boy hanging by his fingers up on the 2nd floor." And so we raced up, and no telling what would have happened had she not come by. And there were so many fun things we did, and it was so nice when we put the boys and girls to sleep at night and you and I could just visit. We've always visited well, haven't we? And we never seem to have enough time to say all the things we want to share with each other. And I know on our phone conversations they've been so important to me. I've loved them. And we keep saying we need to hang up now, and then we go on to another subject. But those have been so important in my life. I love you. I think you're an amazing, amazing woman, LaRue, and you've accomplished a lot of wonderful things with a lot of people in your life. Please know that I love you so much, and you'll always be so special in my life and to me, and in my heart I hold you.
It's my Auntie Rue's 90th birthday. You know, happy birthday, Auntie Rue. I wish I was there. I want to say that aside from having a sister, when my mother married your brother, I skipped and skipped just saying, I have an Auntie Rue, I have an Auntie Rue, because you always made me feel so welcome and loved from the very beginning. My phone's ringing. Maybe it's you. Hello. Hi, Auntie Rue. So this is in memory of all the times we've talked on the phone and cried and laughed and shared. Thank you for coming to see me in Hawaii. Thank you for always making me feel welcome when I interrupted your work at Walco and brought Joseph. And you would leave your work and he would try on 10-gallon hats. And thank you most of all for loving me unconditionally. Have a wonderful birthday. I have one more surprise. I'll see you soon. Now, you know, I work for Deseret Industries, and this metal pitcher came in today, and it reminded me of you. I hope the whole set of cups comes in next week, because that's how they do. But thank you for all those spaghetti dinners with glasses of cold, cold Kool-Aid with ice. They made me feel really special. Thank you, Auntie Rue. Happy birthday.
Hi Grandma, I'm sorry this is getting late to you, but I wanted to share my favorite memory that I had with you. And when I think of you, I think of the times that you would come visit Ohio and take us to the toy store to get something and then go to Dairy Queen to get ice cream. And I also remember during Christmases when you would send us big packages from California and it would just be so fun to open up to see what Grandma sent to us for Christmas. But I love you very much, and I hope you have a happy birthday, and have a good day.
Hi, Auntie Rue. This is Jane. It was her birthday. Cam and Katie are her parents.
She's mine.
There's Cam. And the kids sang, it was her baptism today, and so the kids sang, and we'd like to sing it for you and record it. Hope you enjoy it. Okay, guys. Here comes the introduction. Are you ready? Hi, Auntie Rue. This is, as you call me, Rebecca, but really it's Becky. These are 3 of my grandchildren. This one is Emma.
Hi.
Emma's 8 and just got baptized this year. This is Connor over here.
Hi, Andrew.
And Connor is 6. And this is Morgan.
Hi, Andrew.
They are Justin and Sharice's kids.
Morgan's 4.
And, oh, and Morgan is 4. Thank you. And they stayed with Tony and I this weekend, the weekend before we come down to see you for your
And
birthday.
we're going bowling.
Yes, we're going bowling tomorrow. Auntie Rue, I just wanted to tell you a couple of things that are kind of serious, so hope the grandkids can sit through it. The more I've thought about your life and how cool it was when you let me go with you to work when I was young, and I always wanted to have pencils and paper and neat and organized things like you had, and I have loved office work because of you. But the other thing that, let me get through this, I hope, I have thought about you as a single mom. For so many years, you were everything to those kids, and you were alone to do it, and I never even thought about it. You were just there, and you just did what you needed to do, and I want you to know how much I love you. I hope that this is a great birthday party. I'm not going to cry. I made it.
Okay.
I hope it's a great birthday party. I can't wait to see you. And by the way, thank you for all the family history. We got to share it with our Sunday school class today, and they at 16 and 17, they know more about it than I do. And so Tony and I are going to learn more about it. But thank you for the books that I was able to share with them today. And see you soon.